As the WNBA turns, starring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, and other angry feminists. Brought to you by George Soros, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the Global Elite.
All right, my favorite part of the show, Caitlin Clark, out tonight against the LA Sparks with a groin injury. I heard nothing about a groin injury when she went, what did she go, 0 of 6 from three-point range, 3 of 13 in their last game. She's 1 of 23 in her last 3 games from three-point range. She 8 turnovers in her last game, I think 7 in the game before that. She, in an awful stretch of games, seems to be depressed on the court and playing with a completely different energy and emotion than what she had been before the Barbie brawl during the Connecticut Sun game. Question here is, Steve, are you buying the groin injury, or are they calling a timeout and letting her recoup mentally?
Okay, I'll play along here. I called her the league. That should be her moniker, because she is the league, right? She was injured. The ratings dipped. There was pressure for her to come back. She might have rushed back. And what happens when you rush back and you try to make up for one injury? You cause another one. Someone brought this up to me. Goes, Steve, you ever think that the last couple of games she is suffering or ailing physically because she may have come back too soon? Jason, there's a shot that could be very valid. Now, if it's the other thing that she needs a timeout, people can talk about mental health. I think that's mental weakness, and she needs to toughen up if that is the case. I would be severely disappointed if it is the latter and not the former.
Okay, Steve, walk me through this, though. She was injured, as you said.
Yes.
She comes back, has the incredible game against the New York Liberty. Incredible game. Let me see. And I don't think that was her first game back. No, it wasn't. That was her third game back. She came back on Tuesday, May 20th against the Atlanta Dream, had 27 points in that game. 27 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds, went 9 of 20 in that game, 5 of 11 from three-point range. Next game against Atlanta, she goes 0 of 5 from 3, but she has 11 points. Am I reading it? Nope, I done screwed this up. I'm sorry. Let me. She actually came back against the New York Liberty. That was the first game back against the New York Liberty after her being out. I'm sorry. And she, again, 32 points, 7 of 14 from three-point range. It's the most electric game she ever played. And then she follows that up 3 days later against the Connecticut Sun, 20-point game, 4 of 6 from three-point range. So in the 2 games before that New York Liberty, or in the 2 games, in her initial 2 games after coming back, she's 11 of 20 from 3. And now, after the Barbie brawl, she's 1 of 23. Can rush back, and this is the injury deal? I don't. This seems. DeWanna Bonner quits again, the team.
We're speculating, but I've said this. She needs to toughen up. She's awfully dainty. And I think it's a little unfair, the expectations placed on her. She's never going to please everybody. But again, that's why I will never compare her to Jordan in any way. Jordan steeled himself in situations like this. He used this as motivation and fuel. If she's letting this beat her down, then she's not meant to be the league, even though she is and will be. That's the reality of this.
I'm not going to belabor the point with you, Steve, but come on, man. This is a 23-year-old woman who's been at the center of a racial conflict and conversation that no 23-year-old girl from Iowa has any interest at all in participating in. She's been vilified. Her fan base has been vilified. They play very physically against her. You got no sympathy for her?
No, I do. But I'm talking about the reality of the situation. You can either be steeled by this and become callous to a point where it becomes an armor, or you're going to let yourself get beat down. She has a tough decision to make here. But I've said this to you last year. They need to surround her with a team that is geared toward Caitlin Clark. It's a little bit like how the 2000-2001 Sixers, or really the 99-2000 Sixers, they were all built around Allen Iverson. Not emotionally, not in terms of toughness, because Allen Iverson was a nail. He was tough. But every single player on that team had to sacrifice, and they understood one thing. This is about Allen Iverson, right? We're going to set screens for him. We're going to do all the dirty work. We're going to let him take 35, 40 shots at times. He is the nucleus. They had buy-in, and they had a great coach in Larry Brown. That's the type of situation and scenario that I believe she needs to be in to maximize her ability. And as of right now, as if you detailed yesterday, that ain't happening.
Got you. And so I said this, I think, at the outset, a year and a half, 2 years ago. She's about to go through what Jackie Robinson went through, and I'm just not sure if a woman can handle that. And she's certainly not getting the level of support that, in my view, the Brooklyn Dodgers and Branch Rickey, who was the general manager of that team, I don't think she's getting that kind of support. And it's just like to expect a woman to go through what Jackie Robinson went through and survive it, I think is an unrealistic expectation.
I don't expect her to be Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, but she's going to have to evolve then. You either evolve or you devolve. And look, she carries an inordinate amount of pressure to be the best player, to be the most entertaining player, and then to win every night. But you're allowed a slump. But her play the last 3 games, she's bad. She's really, really bad. We can't find a middle ground here. So I don't know what to really say other than you better toughen up. You can go out there and feel sorry for her. But again, if you want to keep watching 2 for 15, this is what you're going to get then, Jason. If you really care about her, you say, come here, toughen up. You're getting paid. You're a pro. That's it. You can't on one hand say she's the greatest and then feel sorry for it. Which is it then? Pick one or the other.
Steve, I'm going to have to let you leave me alone with my thoughts. You've put a lot on my mind. I'm serious. I got to think about this in terms of what would I say as a Caitlin Clark groupie? What advice would I be giving her right now?
Let me give you an example. I pointed this to you last night. I want to make a slight retraction. Michael Jordan did face some blowback coming in. The freeze out of the 85 All-Star game when some players that were very jealous of the profile he was getting and the fact in the All-Star game, in the slam dunk contest, he wore his Jordan gear, the Air Jordan. I don't know if that shoe was ever successful or not, but he did not wear his uniform, okay? And there was no doubt about it that there was some conflict. There was some jealousy from some very well-known players. What did Jordan do? Jordan held that grudge like a maniac for the rest of his life, to a point that Isaiah Thomas was not on the dream team as he deserved to be. You could call that petty. You know what I call that? I call that stealing yourself. She's going to have to adopt that mentality, hold grudges, never forget, and be vindictive. Those are good things, used correctly.
All right. Is she physically built for what you're talking about? Because there will be physical consequences. These women play rough. They're being allowed to play rough. It's like there doesn't seem to be any protection of her from the referees. And this is where the hostility of this league, you have referees, particularly the female referees. They're all feminists. They're all leftists. They probably have a tiny bit of bias against Caitlin Clark, just like the rest of that league. And I think that impacts how she's officiated.
You know what? All of those are valid points. I will not argue that. So that's why, again, you need to get that character in form of a basketball player, Queen Latifah, and set it off. You need to get like 2 or 3 of them. And what they do is they set screens, they knock people on their ass, they foul hard, and they make it clear, do not cross the line or we shall set it off. Again, think of the 2000 Sixers. A lot of role players subjugated their role really to cater to one guy.
Last point, because you've made some fascinating points here. And I don't know if you said this earlier this week or if I did, but they should have invested. They should have paid. If it took $2 million to get a Kim Mulkey to be their coach, $1.5 million to get Lisa Bluter to be her coach, but she needs her version of John Thompson. John Thompson took on Allen Iverson in college, and remember, because Allen Iverson very polarizing coming to college because he had just gotten out of jail and blah blah.
Yeah,
you got to have that ride or die head coach, and I'm not sure Stephanie White doesn't have the profile, being a white woman, being a lesbian. I just don't know if she can be that ride or die person for Caitlin Clark and get in that foxhole with her. But that's where I think the WNBA has really let her down. Is if I'm that Indiana Fever management, I'm like, I'm about to break the bank to get the best coach I can, someone whose profile and personality will take on these critics and defend this rare asset we have, and they just don't have that.
If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.